Hello, hello. Good evening. Um, it's stream o'clock. Let's see if we have anyone joining right now. Um, Let me give it some 5 minutes, then we can start this exciting journey of navigating Hono and Cloudflare. Today is gonna be something I should have done a while back. Since Hono has been out, I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it, people talking about it in many circles, but I have not had a time to sit down, go through, see what all the buzz is about, and test it out for myself. But that changes today. Today, we find out exactly what this framework can do. And we decide whether we use it for our next project or not. So if any of you are around in the chat, give me a hi. Welcome, welcome to the stream. Let's get started. Okay, so obviously Hono is a web application framework because it says that boldly here. So the target is it's fast, lightweight, and built on web standards, as it says. So we're going to test this. Is this true? How lightweight is it? And is it truly built on web standards? Let's start from the docs. Okay, so the docs are pretty well structured. I think we can start from the motivations, find out why, the philosophy behind this. Why Hono? Why did they build this? Okay, at first we wanted to create a web application framework on Cloudflare workers, but there was no good framework that works with Cloudflare workers, so we started building Hono. Okay. Then a friend showed him a fast router, regXP router. Using all in web standards, we could make it work on Dino and Ban. Interesting. When people asked, is there Express for Ban? We could answer no, but there's Hono. Although Express now works on Ban, okay. Yeah, I guess this is nice motivation. It's usually nice when you start something, you don't know it's gonna be a thing, and then it becomes a thing. That's always a good sign. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so here are all the routers. Okay, we have the regXP router, the tri router, smart router, linear router, and pattern router. Okay, so what are the differences between these? Okay, so first off, I'm sure like a lot of us would probably compare this to Express. So they just come out and say it's not an Express-like implementation. I know, okay. So although it's called regXP, it's not an Express-like implementation using path to regXP. They are using linear loops. Therefore, regular expressions matching will be performed for all routes, and performance will be degraded as you have more routes. Okay, so say we have a route hello full bar here. Now if you're getting hello full bar, the linear router has to go through, search, does this match? No. Does this match? No. Does this match? No. Yes, so by the time you get here, it's gonna be a long wait, right? So imagine you have hundreds of routes in your application. This doesn't scale very well. This will probably take a long time to hit a route that's a very nested route you'd have a problem with, right? Okay, so how do they solve it? Okay, from this diagram here, Oh, okay. So they compile each route into some sort of regex. So each one is unique. That means we don't have to search down the tree for nested routes, right? We can just, when a request comes in for a particular route, we just convert it to the regex, then check which regex matches that route, so we jump straight to the route instead of going down the tree, checking, is it this, is it this, is it this? No, no, no. Okay, okay. I guess that's pretty smart, you know. This works faster than methods that use tree-based algorithms such as radix tree in most cases. Sure. Okay, the tree router. So obviously, hello foo, then you have a branch here. So when you're on the hello route, you know it's not here, so you go here. This eliminates some of the checking, but not all. So obviously, this will still be slower than the regexp router they just mentioned. Okay, so what does the smart router do? So regexp router doesn't support all patterns. Okay, sure. Therefore, it's usually used in combination with another router that does support all patterns. All right, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm guessing this is inside the core of Hono. Yes. So you automatically use the smart router, and it uses the regexp router as long as you don't have routes that are not supported by that, else it uses a tree router. Interesting. Guess that's quite nice. So speed by default until you have to use this. Until something doesn't support, until you have a route that isn't supported by the regexp router, then you have to use a try router. That's cool. Then our linear router. Regexp is fast, but the route registration phase can be slightly slow. Yeah, I can understand that. So because the linear router, like they showed before, you don't really have to compile anything. You just have your routes. But when you are doing it the regexp style, you have to go through enumerate all the routes. You transform all the routes into that's whatever regex they are coming out with. So hello, transform to a regex. Hello slash foo, transform to a regex. So compile, but that's a worthy trade-off. You trade compile time performance for runtime performance. So you go through each of the routes, compile them into one big regex, and you have a faster regex when the user is actually using your application, but probably slower DX, I guess, especially if you have a lot of routes. Okay. Let's see. So they did some benchmarks. Yeah. I mean, these all look really fast, but you can just see the difference. Oh, okay. 2.1, 2.4. Interesting. 33 times. Find my way. Okay. Now, let's look at the pattern router. Pattern router is the smallest router among Hono's routers. While Hono is already compact, if you need to make it even smaller for an environment with limited resources, you can use the pattern router. Alright. But they don't talk about how this is implemented. I guess that's all about routing. Then benchmarks. We have a bunch of routes. Okay, so first we register the following routes and for each routers. Okay. Users comments, users avatar, users lookup. So they created a bunch of nested routes here. Then some event routes map. Okay, seems reasonable. Seems like a reasonable application. Then we sent a request to endpoints below. On Node.js. Okay, so Hono regexp Ooh, 64 nanoseconds per liter. But at this point, we are all in nanoseconds. But it's a huge difference. This is a really huge difference, like scales of hundreds. Interesting. But after all, these are just benchmarks are just benchmarks, but I mean they are useful. They are nice to know. You know that at least you're doing something nice. You just get a good feeling inside. All right. Let's see on barn. Then we move forward. So these are all just benchmarks. I guess we can skip these. Okay, so these were done on an M1 Pro. Yeah, then Dino benchmarks as well. Let's move on. Web standards. This is what I'm interested in. So Hono uses only web standards like fetch. They were originally used in Hono functions and consist of basic objects that handle HTTP requests and responses. In addition to requests and responses, there is URL search params, headers, and others. Cloudflare workers, Dino, and BAN also build upon web standards. Yes. For example, a server that returns hello world could be written as below. That's it. Export, fetch, return, response, hello world. Nice. I don't think you get any simpler than this. Any shorter than this and it will just be magic. So let's see. Hono uses web standards, which means that Hono runs on any runtime that supports them. In addition, we have a Node.js adapter. Hono runs on these runtimes. So Cloudflare workers. Okay, so this is another name for Cloudflare workers, I guess. Workerd or Worked. Workerd, I guess. So Cloudflare workers, Dino, BAN, fastly computes, AWS Lambda, Node.js, and Vercel. Interesting. It works on Netlify and other platforms. Same code runs on all platforms. Nice. I guess it sounds really compelling right now since it's built on web standards. So any platform that implements these web standards, you can effectively run Hono on it. That's sweet. It's a compelling reason to use it. Let's look at what middlewares they have. Okay, we call primitives that return response as handlers, and middleware is executed before and after the handler and handles the request and response. Okay, so any primitive that returns a response is known as a handler. All right, and the middleware is run before and after the handler. Okay, so let's see the little example here. Your request comes in, goes into the handler, which returns a response out here. Okay, so the stuff in between are middlewares. So okay, so when the request is coming in, this runs, and when it's going out, this runs, this. Okay, so it runs in reverse order. So the first one to run when the request is coming in is the last one to run when the request is going out. Makes sense? Alright, so okay, this so effectively you can time how long that request took, right? So start time, next, then end time, then you calculate the difference. I don't think it gets much simpler than this. Developer experience. To create a great application, we need great development experience. Fortunately, we can write applications for Cloudflare workers, Dino, and BAN in TypeScript without having the need to transpile to JavaScript. Hono is written in TypeScript and can make applications type safe. I don't remember the last time I wrote plain JavaScript. If you can write plain JavaScript, well, grats to you, because obviously you don't make any mistakes. I need TypeScript. I just can't. I can't write JS without TypeScript right now. It's been years. Hono stacks. What's a Hono stacks? Hono stacks makes easy things easy and hard things easy. What a sentence to begin with. I hope this is true. It makes easy things easy and hard things easy. Okay. It's suitable for not just returning JSON, but also great for building full stack applications, including REST API servers and the clients. Okay. So RPC, I guess this would be nice. Okay, Hono's RPC feature allows you to share API specs. Sort of like something TRPC does, right? This is nice. Okay. Hono, so you use Hono, you use Zod validators, then they even, it looks like they have an inbuilt Zod middleware. Okay. We call this convenience Hono stack. Now let's create an API server and client with it. Alright. So you just call Hono app, then register a route on a get route /hello, then return message hello world. Easy. Okay, so this version with Zod validator, let's see. So you register the routes, then you have Z validator, you pass and query. Okay. So, okay. So by passing and query here, you can come and get your query params, I guess. So Zod validates it, then pass it to I don't know if this is like context or something. So it's an object that just flows through your request. So it gets validated here, then you can destructure it out from your request. So I'm guessing you have all the types on this. Since it's passing through, respond with your JSON message hello name. That's pretty cool. Okay, now sharing types in RPC mode. You have hello, you have your validator. So you come and export a type on your routes. That way you can import them on your clients. Yes, here we go. You import them on your clients /API suites. This is actually very simple. Interesting. I need to try this sometime, but for now let's just go through the docs, get a fair idea of what they have, then maybe we just run something small. Oh, they have an example of React. Okay, so functions API, your roots, then you make your Hono app, you have your schema with Zod. Okay. Yeah, you infer the type from the schema. Okay, you pass it through your validator. Okay, so you can have the schema before, and you can pass the schema to the Z validator. That way you don't have to write it inline and make things look very bulky. That's cool. That's a cool application. So when you export your types here, your client side can now have access to all the routes you've registered on your application. All right. So this is what they mean by Hono stacks. Okay, let's get started. The basics. Okay, so now I get code. Let's see. Let's use ban. Ban create Hono latest. Simple. Let's go through this first. So create a starter, then you have a hello world like we saw before, then you return JSON, then you have request and response. Okay, getting a path param, URL query value and appending. So c.context.request.query, then pages. Okay, so you can get your URL params and your query params this way. Interesting. Returning HTML. Now let's run an application with ban. Let's see what ban will do. So let's quickly come up here, copy this. Creating our application with ban. Okay. Alright, so let's see. I guess we'll choose Cloudflare, right? Cloudflare workers. Do you want to install dependencies? Yes, we do. And let's go with ban still. I want to see if we'll have any errors happening. Okay, cloning, installing. Let's go back to our application. Alright, so yeah, we have our hello world here. Let's see, installing. Do. By the end of this, I hope I would choose to use Hono to build my applications. So far, it looks really fun. I think it looks fun and simple, which is the good thing, right? I think, especially when you want to build things easy, when you want to build things quickly, you want something easy, something you can just get started with. Okay. So this is our application. What does it install? Let's see the packages first. Okay, so Cloudflare worker types and Wrangler. Then it has a Wrangler.jsonc. Okay. I thought it was gonna be a Wrangler.toml. Okay. Then here we are. Alright, let's run this. Let me see what's the run command here. Dev. So it runs Wrangler dev. Nice. And there we have it. Haha. Hello Hono. I guess that's our hello world done. That's our hello world done. Let's go back to our docs, see what else we can do. Okay, so we can return JSON. Let's see this. Let's add this route. So API/hello will return, let's see, API/hello. Nice. Very simple. Hello Hono. Right now we're on a streak here, you know? Very easy. Let's see whether we can do something more complex. Well, not complex, but just getting query params and let's see. So our query should be page and our param should be an ID. Alright, so let's see, posts. This is posts/post, then an ID, then our query param. So we can have posts slash 10, then page, was it page? Yes, page equals me. Let's see, 44 not found. What did I do wrong? Oh, posts with an S. Come on, posts slash 10, then our parameters pages equals me. You see undefined of 10. Oh, page, not pages. You want to see me of 10. Makes no sense, but yeah, we got it. So we just have to, we get a query param by saying query param and the query param name, then we get the ID by saying param, then ID. That's simple. Now let's see, what else can we do? All right, so we've done posts, we've done get requests only, now we can do posts and deletes. Okay, so if we wanted to post to the route, we do this, then c.x create it. Okay, that's just, then on delete, same thing. Now we can return HTML, return raw responses. Ah, nice, using your middlewares here. So if you have an admin route slash admin slash star, so any I guess just a wildcard for any route under admin path should be logged in. So basic of user. So I guess this basic of is like some middleware they have predefined. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but I guess maybe we would come across it later on. And WebSockets. Okay, so they have a special, a special implementation for handling their WebSockets for Cloudflare workers. Okay, maybe we'll get to test these later on too. All right, so now on Cloudflare workers is a JavaScript edge runtime on Cloudflare CDN. All right, so I think most people understand what edge is. I think a lot of times people get confused between edge and serverless. Now, yeah, so when we're talking about edge, I guess we're just talking about distributed to where your users are, right? If you're running on the edge, you are running close to your users. So you're running at the Cloudflare servers that are closest to your users, right? And they automatically do this for you. Wow. I think all workers are, so I'm not sure if it's both serverless and runs on edge, or it just runs on the edge. But for now, they're telling us it runs on the edge. So that's nice. Setup. So what we just did, create Hono app, our hello world, then run dev, yes, then deploy. Was there a deploy script? I didn't notice that. Oh yes, there's a deploy script here. So I did log into Cloudflare earlier. I have tested, I pushed something to, yes, one of Spelt's e-commerce things. I pushed it to Cloudflare to see a while back, and I haven't touched it since. Yeah, I guess today we'll see. Okay, so this is the workers page. Yeah, so this was also in workers and pages. Are they the same thing? Are they different? I'm not sure. All right, let's continue. I guess let's run our deploy. Let's see what happens. So stop this, run our deploy. we're going to run deploy. Something went wrong. What went wrong? Let's see our terminal. Attempting to off. Okay, let's open this in the browser again. I guess our auth isn't working. Fail to get. Alright. Allow. Now let's see. Has it come? Alright, so total upload. GZIPs. Ooh, that's tiny. 8 kilobytes. But then again, we don't really have much on it. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, it shows up here. Visit. We have our hello world. Then I guess what was the other routes? We can go to post ID. So posts ID 99, and our query is page equals some random stuff. Nice. I can't believe this was deployed so easily. Like there was no configuration on my side, nothing. Just log into Cloudflare and run a deploy script. That was it. Everything was handled by them. That's sweet. That's sweet. Okay, so now we can go back. Let's go back to our docs. See what we can do next. Yeah, that's all. It was really simple to deploy. I like that. That was the easiest deploy I've ever done in my life. If all deploys were this simple, I would love deploys every day. But unfortunately, deploys are never this simple. Let's see. Okay, service worker mode or module worker mode. There are two syntaxes for writing Cloudflare workers: module worker mode and service worker mode. Using Hono, you can write with both syntax, okay? But we recommend using module worker mode so that binding variables are localized. Interesting. So there's the module worker mode. Module worker, service worker. App.fire. That sounds like that sounds very dangerous. I don't want to get burnt. So let's see. Using Hono with other event handlers. You can integrate Hono with other event handlers such as scheduled in module worker mode to do this export app.fetch as the module fetch handler and then implement other. Okay, sure. Then 7 static files. So this basically, okay, you just have a public folder, you put your static files inside. Then, yeah, I knew that they had a wrangler.toml thing. So you indicate in your toml file that assets, I guess since we have a JSON-C, it will be like assets, then your brackets, then directory, then colon public, I guess, and that's it. That's very simple. So far, everything it's showing, everything Hono is giving us is so easy. At least it seems easy. But can we actually use it to build a good application? Okay, so testing. This is where we see whether it stands up. Okay, the syntax looks, what does it use for testing though? For testing, we recommend using Cloudflare VTest pool workers. Okay. They have refer to examples for setting it up. I want to go step by step, so I don't want to jump through the documentation. So we'll skip this for now. I'm sure we'll come to testing down the line. Down bindings. Now this I have fought with bindings in Fedex.js. I hope Hono is simple. Okay, so in Cloudflare Workers, we can bind the environment variables, the environment values, KV namespace, R2 buckets, or durable objects. Yeah, these are other products Cloudflare has, right? KV, R2, I'm not sure what R2 is. R2. Yeah, that's a Cloudflare thing. Oh, object storage. Okay, object storage in Cloudflare. So it's like S3. Nice. Cloudflare have their own ecosystem. I opened Cloudflare docs here, but I haven't gone through it yet. So I'm not sure exactly all the products they have and what they do. Maybe if we have time, we'll go through it. Let's see. So what do we have? Yeah. So you define a type of bindings. Haha. Yeah, welcome Joseph. Let's go. Indeed, let's go. Hono is real fire. So far, it's showing us like everything is so easy, we don't have to worry. Okay, bindings. So we have bindings, then we can define my buckets being R2 buckets, username. So I guess these then get passed to your Hono instance. So then you have it within your, wow. It's kind of like what Fedex does, right? But I don't know why when I'm looking at this, it seems so much simpler. All right, so I just pass any variable here, then I pass it to the Hono instance, then I automatically have it in my application. Thank you. Let's try this actually. Let me see if I'll get any type. No, let me just copy this because we have some stuff in there already. Let me see if I'll get any. So we just come and pass this as what? We just pass bindings like that. Then we can, so inside our routes, we can now say c dot, we can say what? C dot request dot requests dot oh, not request, env, c dot env. Ah, I see. Interesting. Huh. So this just exists on my c.env now. So anything I just pass here would exist, but you have to obviously make sure they actually exist. These are just types, right? So you have to make sure they actually exist before you do this. But we don't know how to set environment variables in Hono yet, right? So I guess we'll find out on the way. All right, so let's go. Using variables in middleware. Yeah, so basic of, we have our bindings here, we pass it to our Hono instance, then we have our off routes, then we use the basic of middleware, then c.env, .username, c. Wow. It can't be this easy, right? Oh, and they give you a script to deploy to GitHub Actions. Before deploying code to Cloudflare via CI, you need a Cloudflare token. You can manage it from user API tokens. Okay, so I guess on the Cloudflare dashboard, you can generate this. Then you have a token. Wow. It's nice that they actually provide this in their docs, because when it comes to time for you to actually work on your CI, it's annoying. You have to go out there, see what you actually have to use. But with this, no problem. They've given it to you already. You just copy, set your variables, and you're done. Okay, then edit wrangler.toml and add this code after compatibility dates. After the compatibility, okay, let's see the compatibility dates line. So I guess this is used to version your server somehow. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but I'm guessing maybe it's used to version your server somehow. Maybe we'll come across what it actually does. Yeah, you see? I see your comments. There's no way it is that easy, right? It is that easy, according to them, and it seems to be working so far. It seems way too easy. Way too easy. So yes, now we learn how to load environment variables. So to configure the environment variables for local dev, we create a .devs.var. Okay, .dev.var file in the root directory. Then configure your environment variables as you would in a normal env file. Okay, so let's see, we come here, then we add a .dev.vars. I guess they probably already ignored it in here, right? Yeah, they ignored it in here already, so we're good. They are holding our hands through this. We don't have to think. I mean, you always forget. There are a lot of people who forget to put their to update their gets ignore, right? But these guys already give it to you. You don't have to think. You just follow the docs, put it there, it works. Now let's see what we have to do next. So then you configure your variables as you would with a normal env file. So you have your secret value, you have your API token. For more about this, you can find, okay, so I guess these are the stuff you just go to Cloudflare to find. But let's see, let's take this. Say we want to set some actual values equals some random gibberish like that, and then our API key equals some random stuff too. Let's see, what do we do next? So in our bindings, we have the secret key. So we know that we have secret key. Let's remove these. We have secret key, which for us is a string, right? Then we have API key, which is also a string, right? So if we come to our routes, then we say, we just console log this, c.env.secret key, right? Then let's go back here, just bam dev. Ooh, even tells you it's hidden. Wow. Okay, so but let's go to our route and see when we come to so which route did we put it in? We put it in just slash. So if we go to slash, we should see this is our hosted instance, this is our local. So we go to slash hello Hono, then yeah, our secret key right here. That's awesome. I like the fact that it shows you what variables you have set when it's initializing, but it keeps them hidden. That's awesome. That's very nice. Now let's go back. Let's see what we can do. Okay, Cloudflare pages. Now we just finished talking about workers. So what is pages? Workers and pages seem to be different things, but on the Cloudflare dashboard, workers and pages are on the same link. and I know this is SvelteKit application. It went to, I knew at the time it was Pages, right? I was deploying it to Cloudflare Pages, but this goes to Cloudflare Workers. I'm not sure what the exact difference is, but I guess we'll find out here. So I think maybe Pages is for like full stack or front end applications. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's go back to the Hono docs. So Cloudflare Pages. Pages is an edge platform for full stack web applications. Yeah, figured since I deployed Svelte there earlier. It serves static files and dynamic content provided by Cloudflare workers. Ah, okay, so they work together. Hono fully supports Cloudflare Pages. It introduces a delightful developer experience. Vit's dev server is fast and deploying with Wrangler is super quick. We've already experienced that. It was flawless and quick. Yes. So start our application. I guess we can skip this. I don't want to deploy. We've already seen how the deploy goes. Yeah, we've already done all this. Added bindings. Okay, so using their other products, you have KV. Make the KV run. Wrangler KV namespace. Bindings. You can use Cloudflare bindings like variables, KV, D1, and others. In this section, let's use variables and KV. Alright, so first you create a toml file, then vars in your toml, name Hono. So Wrangler KV namespace creates my KV. Interesting. So the Wrangler command helps you set up other products they have. That's awesome, because now you don't have to like manually try to configure whatever products you want to use. You know they have KV, you want to use KV. By the way, KV, I guess if you are not sure what KV is, it's just a key value store. Let me just check to make sure. Cloudflare KV. Yeah, so it's just a key value store. You can sort of like Redis, I guess. You can think of it as Redis. So you just set up KV or D1 using their Wrangler command. Then you set up your bindings. Nice. Okay, so here they're using Vits. So the bindings for the application, then your slash routes. Await my env, and you know, because the typings are already there, my kv.puts. Wow. And you've inserted data into KV like that. Too easy, too easy. So in production for Cloudflare Pages, you will use Wrangler toml for local development. For Cloudflare Pages, you will use local toml for you use Wrangler.toml for local development, but for production you will set up bindings in the dashboard. Okay. I'm surprised they don't have like a way to do it from the command line. That's cool though, that's cool. Okay, so the client side, we're not here for client side stuff. The client side, I guess they want to demonstrate, are they showing, let's see what they're doing here, bit config, define, no, it's not what I thought. Yeah, anyways. Cloudflare Pages uses its own middleware system that is different from Hono's middleware. You can enable it by exporting on request in a file named underscore middleware. So functions underscore middleware on request. Then you have access to Cloudflare's own middleware. So I wonder what situation you need to use both. Do you just stick to one, or there are situations where you need both Cloudflare middleware um, and Hono's middleware? If you want to apply multiple middleware, you can write it like this: handle middleware. So, that's interesting. You just stack them: middleware 1, middleware 2, middleware 3. Yeah, pages 2 have middleware. Accessing event context. You can access event context. But this is if you're doing it in a full stack capacity. Which I won't be here. I just want to see mostly the backend stuff. Alright, so they have docs for Dino too. Let's just quickly go through Dino and Ban. The rest of them, I'll leave them out. But they have Dino, Ban, Fastly Compute. I'm not sure what that is. I've never come across it. Vercel, Netlify, AWS Lambda, Lambda Edge. What is this? What's the difference between these two? No idea. Superbase functions, Ali function computes. Ali, what's Ali doing here? My old buddy Ali made it to cloud, made it to Hono docs. But I have no idea what this means. But this is too interesting. I have to click this. But first, let's read Dino and Ban. Then we can see what Ali is doing here. Setup. So we have our install. You install Dino. You set up Dino init, npm, Hono. Yeah. You cd into it. Same thing we did before, but this time with Dino serve. Then Dino tag starts. I mean, this is how you start stuff in Dino, right? Then you serve ports. Interesting. All right. So, okay. So 7 static files is slightly different here, right? Because in the previous one, when we're looking at how to do it on Cloudflare, they said you update, you do it in the toml file, right? But here, we have this function from Hono Dino, which interesting. Okay, but it's kind of confusing when there's like different ways to do stuff. But I guess it's good they have like all the runtimes they support and how to do it in that runtime in their docs, right? So if you are using Dino, you come down to the how to do it in Dino, right? You look at the docs on how to do it in Dino instead of like going around searching for. I like that they have that. Now let's look. So you just Dino serve app.fetch. That's fine. This is all fine. Rewrite request paths. Meme types. Okay. Unfound. Not found. Okay, so all this. These are like configuration, different types of configurations you can have on when you're serving static files, right? I mean, you can take some time to go through them. Pre-compressed. The pre-compressed option checks if the file extensions like BR or GZ are available and serves them. Okay. Then Dino deploy. Dino deploy is an edge runtime platform for Dino. Can publish applications. Nice. So we are always on the edge. We like the edge here. This side of the world, we like the edge. Now testing. Yeah, Dino, I think Dino and Ban, pretty interesting stuff. Now, Dino test. So you set up an application instance, you set up your routes, then you request right there. This. Wow. Okay. So testing can't be this easy, right? I mean, granted, we're just testing that the route response with a 200, but just these lines of code and you are fine. Set up your app instance, set up your routes, then request your routes, then you can set that is 200. That's all. Then, okay, so Dino test hello.ts, npm Hono. You can use it by fixing Dino JSON. Okay, I guess that's cool. Now let's look how Bun does it. Bun is another JavaScript runtime it's not Node.js or Dino. They have to clarify that here. They have to make sure this should be highlighted, in fact. Bun includes a transcompiler. We can write the code with TypeScript. Hono also works on Bun. Okay. To install Bun, commands follow the official website. The link to the Bun website there, interesting. So we continue, set up a new project like what we did, Bun create, cd Bun install, Bun add Hono, then export, Bun run dev, and that's it. So, okay, this is how you change your port number. You export the default app, then, okay, so you export defaults, then you can specify your port number right here and export fetch from app.fetch, right? Then 7 static files. So I guess with the different runtimes, the way you save static files is probably gonna be similar. But when you're doing it with Cloudflare, that's the only time it's like they have it, because they have it already. You just have to specify in your toml and you are done. But this is exactly what we just saw with Dino. Yeah, this is exactly the same thing we just saw with Dino. That's nice. At least this is standard. Now let's visit Ali. What is Ali doing here? So Ali Baba is short for Ali. Interesting. I did not know that. I did not know what to expect here. Ali Baba is short for Ali. That's nice. Okay. So I guess in Ali, wow, it should be similar, right? Oh, here we are using a YAML file. It looks much shorter. Let's go through. Setup. So make your directory cd there, npm Hono, serverless, es build workers. Then your index.cs. You set up your Hono app instance. Then your routes. This time we're exporting handler. Okay, so there's a wrapper. They export a wrapper around your app. Yeah, interesting. Simple adapter for that. Then you have your application working on Ali Cloud. I've never used it. Maybe one day I'll check it out. Then finally we have Node.js. So Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime. Hono was not designed for Node.js at first, but with a Node.js adapter, it can run on Node.js as well. Alright, so it works on Node.js versions greater than 18. I guess we're using, I think 22 right now. Let me check. Yeah, 22 right now. let's see. So same thing, create your application. This time we have a serve function coming from Hono node server. Yeah, so now we just serve the app. Nice. It's similar to what we just looked at Ali function compute. Accessing the raw Node.js APIs. Oh, okay. So you can have your HTTP bindings and whatever you put in there. Then c.env.incoming socket, remote sockets. Yeah, then 7 static files, exactly the same as the other platforms. Stuff about HTTP2, unencrypted HTTP2, then the encrypted version. Well, we're on Hono because we want to do Cloudflare, right? So we've taken a side to look at those things. Now let's go to the API side. What does the Hono API give us? So, app. Hono is the primary object, and it's imported first and used until the end. Simple. That's usually how it works, right? For Cloudflare workers, Urban. Now, we have some methods on the app. So HTTP all on use routes, base path not found, on error, mount, fire. I don't know, this cracks me. I'm like app.fire. That's so nice. App.fire. Who are we firing? App.fetch, app.request. Okay, cool. So not found. Yeah, so I guess these are defaults you can set on your app. So when a page is not found, you just default. So I mean, if you're making a purely JSON application, you'd probably want to set these, because I'm not sure what defaults they will have. So if we have like, let's just test this out. So app.not found. I'm guessing if we come and set this right here, app.not found, custom 404 message, then we go to a route that does not exist. Let's see, / unable to connect. Are we running our server? Nope. Let's run it. Wrangler dev. Now let's see. Our custom 404 message right there. Simple as that. I keep saying that's nice, but so far everything has been so nice, so simple. It's like Hono is just holding our hands and leading us through. Like, do this and you'll be fine. Do this and we do it and it works. Like this is what I mean by documentation. This is good docs, right? Okay, so let's look at so we have the not found, we have on error, then our favorite fire. What does it do? Fire automatically adds a global fetch event listener. Okay, when that's this can be useful for environments that adhere to service worker API, such as non-ES module Cloudflare workers. I see. I'm not sure exactly which instances you would use this, but that's cool. Fetch. App.fetch will be the entry point of your application for Cloudflare work. I saw something earlier that's like, so for Cloudflare, if you are working directly with Cloudflare, they export like this fetch context, right? So everything you do happens within this fetch context. So for example, if we went using Hono and we're deploying we're accessing Cloudflare directly, all our requests will come through this fetch, um, this fetch function here, right? All our requests will come through this fetch function here. So every route we need to handle, we would have to maybe make like an if statement, right? We just have to have like if checks. So if the route is this, then we can handle that route. But since we're using Hono and other platforms, I think so they wrap. That's why in previous ones we see when we export app.fetch, it's always wrapping app.fetch, right? So I think we will see it if we go to the Cloudflare docs directly. So request is a useful method for testing. We saw it earlier where we created a Hono instance, then you just request the routes. Yeah, so example here, we assume we already have an app, then we request /hello and expect it to be 200. Then posts, okay, so post is similar. You can use new request, then your method will be a post. Interesting. That's pretty cool. I'm happy this is all seemingly simple. It's making me want to write Hono even more. Mount allows you to mount applications built with other frameworks into your Hono application. Interesting. So router creates router application. So you create, I don't know what router is, but we create an router application. Then router.get hello, new response from router. Then we instantiate our Hono application. Then we mount our router on it. Okay, so I'm guessing here, that's that. It can't be this simple, right? It can't be this simple, but it seemingly is. Strict mode defaults to true and distinguishes the following routes. So /hello and /hello/ are different in strict mode. This config, quite interesting. I don't mind. This is nice, right? This is nice that it's this way. But usually, if someone puts /hello/, they mean this, right? But it's good that it's very simple to change. Let's just check that right now. So if I had, what routes do I have? We have API hello. So if we go to API hello, we get our hello true. But if we go to nice. So if we come to our Hono instance, then we say, we disable strict mode, false. What am I doing? We say false, right? Strict is false. Then we can come here, reload. Then they are the same. So simple. I think for most of my applications, I think I'm gonna have strict mode as false because someone does this, then they probably mean this, right? I guess it depends on what type of routes you have and what you want to do, personal preference. But I think I would probably have this as false. So our router options. So let me see what we have. Can we just check? So get path, then router. Okay. So it's quite nice that we have this is how we define our router options. So, and as we saw before, by default they are using regexp router. So I guess if you want to explicitly use regexp router always, then you do it this way, right? You just define the router here and you will always use regexp router. But then I don't know if they would throw an error if the router doesn't support the type of route you are creating in that case. So probably everyone, depending on what you're doing, you would probably want to keep the default since it's regexp first, right? So it's fast by default, then your secondary router. So unless you have a good reason for using, maybe you have like 5 routes in your application, and or maybe you have a large application, but none of the routes are nested, then maybe another router makes sense, right? But either way, we've seen why this is fast. So you can pass generics to specify the type of Cloudflare workers, bindings, and variables used in c.set or c.get. So we have bindings, we have variables. Hono, we pass it to the Hono instance. Then, yeah, like as defined here, token is a string. So we can not only get it, we can set it. Interesting. So this user should match the type of user defined here. Okay, straightforward. Now we're back on routing again, but this time specifically how routing works, right? So we saw we've already seen all this: app.get, app.post, app.puts, app.deletes, right? Then you handle it however you're handling it. Then we have your wildcard routes /*. I mean, that's standard. App.all. So any HTTP methods. So that means any requests coming through this with any method, this endpoint will respond. That's cool. So purge, custom HTTP method. So app.onPurge, then clear cache. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you can use this in your application if you say you have like an internal cache. You have an internal, you build some sort of internal cache, and for some conditions you need to purge it. Then you just, I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but you just like call your custom method, which maybe, I guess, other people are not supposed to know about it because someone can just purge your database then, or purge your in-memory store or whatever. Yeah, but this is quite nice. Multiple methods. Okay, so both puts and deletes, we'll call this. Multiple paths. So one method can go to multiple paths, and multiple methods can go to one path. That's nice. Let's see this actually. So we have app.onGet /hello. Do we already have a hello route? Let's see. So /hello. Okay, the other one was API /hello. Okay, so we have hello, our hello response right here. So /JA /hello. So JA. I wrote JS. Wow, I don't like JS that much. So every request that comes to any of these routes would be handled by this. That's cool. Why did I open Arc? Come on, close. That was a mistake. My normal browser is Arc. I usually use Arc. Let me just unpin it right now. Remove from dock. I usually use Arc, right? But right now I'm testing Zen browser. So yeah, we're on Zen for now. Let's get back to the docs. Routing. Okay, path parameters. So see the request the path. We've seen this earlier. Then yeah, you can okay. So if you don't want to call request the param, then the param name, you can also destructure it. That's cool. Pretty standard, but cool. Optional parameters. Type. Wow. So this route will match API/animal and API/animal, then an animal type. Cool. Then a regular expression. I'm not sure who, I thankfully, I haven't ever had to do this, but I'm not sure who is creating routes with a regular expression as the route. Hey, if you need to do this, I'm sorry. I don't know what exactly your work entails, but you must be working on something really exciting. Including slashes, so double slash, yeah, to escape it, I guess. Chain rule. So you can get endpoints, then post to the same route. Then this reminds me of Feathers.js. Apart from the fact that like there's no before and after hooks, like this kind of looks like Feathers.js hooks, right? Like your get post, your find, your yeah. It's nice chain this way. I mean, if you're writing something very small, that's very cool, but this can very easily get out of hand. If you're writing any sort of complex logic inside here, your route will just look messy and too large and unreadable. But for something small like this, it looks really nice. Finally, grouping. You can group routes with the Hono instance and add them to a main app with the route method. Okay. So we have book, which is a Hono instance. Then we get your list of books. Then you get a specific book, right? Then you can post to that book endpoint. So this book has its own Hono instance. Then your main application has its own Hono instance. Then you can call app.route on your Hono application. Then /book and pass the book handler to it. Interesting. So that would mean that so if you go to app./books, let's do this real quick. Let's do this. I guess we don't have to copy all this. We just have to take this part. We just have to take this part, come here. Let's see. We post it here. Then we have this route books. So when we come to /book, let's see what happens. /book. That's your list of book. So what happens is that this handles all the routes for books. So I'm guessing the way to use this would be you create like a book.cs file here. Then you can come and say, put all these routes here. cut this, put your book routes here. Then, okay, import Hono. Then you export book from here. Then we can come and import it here. You're not showing up. Declaration of statements expected. What is going on? Export default book. Then we can come and import book from here. So now we have book here. All right. So I'm guessing this is how this is supposed to be used, right? You have your book file. So everything that goes to /book would come to this handler, right? So all your book routes can go in here to keep things like separate, right? So, wow, that's nice. All right, so you get particular book ID. You can come and say /book/1. Okay, our application crashed. Yeah, get book 1. That's nice. Haha. Okay, so let's see what's next. Grouping routes, grouping without changing the base. You can also group multiple instances while keeping the base. Okay, so you have your book, new Hono instance. You get your book, you post your book, then you have user. So .base path is /user. So user.get, user.post, then you assign your handlers here. So, interesting. Wow. I mean, this it's not so amazing, right? But it's the simplicity that is just nice for me. Everything looks so simple. Like, it's straightforward, it's easy to understand, right? So you can specify the base path API, base path /API, API.get your book, you get API book. So here, like this, you can post to user, here, you can post to /books here. All makes sense, right? So app routing with host names works fine if you include a host name. Get path, then you place. So interesting. One less W ended up being World War. Routing with hostname headers. Hono can handle the host header value if you set the get path function in Hono constructor. We saw that earlier. Routing priority. Handlers or middleware will be executed in registration order. I think we saw that with their diagram of how the first route is the last one to leave, right? Okay, so book A, book B. When a handler is executed, the process will be stopped. Okay. So what do we mean here? I'm a little lost. When a handler, okay, so we register all the handlers in order, right? So when a handler is executed, okay, so once we reach a particular handler, the next one in line will not respond. So if you go to get foo, come on. So if we go to get foo, because we have a wildcard first, it's gonna match the wildcard and not proceed to actually get foo. Let's test this out. So for example here, we come and say we have a wildcard, then we have foo. But we want to get slash foo, right? But because we've registered the wildcard before foo, if we go to get foo, we get common because it matches the wildcard. So the next route is not going to the next route is not going to be called. I guess this is something you have to keep in mind. It's probably something that could trip you up very easily if you're not paying attention. It's good to mention it in their docs. If you have middleware that you want to execute, write a code above the handler. Exactly. So this could easily trip you up, right? So if you wanted to log things and you wrote it after the handler, then when the handler executes, it's no longer going to log it because it has done its job, right? Yeah, so this is it's good to mention it. This is a good classic example. If you want a fallback handler, write a code below the other handler. So let's see. We have a get bar and we have a get wildcard, which is the fallback. So if we get bar, we get bar. If we get foo, we get fallback. That's understandable, right? So grouping ordering. What does this mean? Note that the mistake of grouping routing is hard to notice. The route function takes the stored routing from the second argument, such as 3 or 2, and adds it to its own 2 or up routing. Okay, let's see. 3.gets high, 2.routes /3, up.routes. I'm not sure what's going on here, but let's test it and see. So if you go to 2, 3, high, you get high. Okay. let's actually run this. Let's comment all this. Then say we don't actually have routes like up.2. We need to create like we created for books. We need to have like a 2 and a 3 before we can test this. I guess let's go ahead and create them. So we can just copy this const. So we just have const book, 2 here, then 2.gets high, const 3.get high, then const, what do we have? 2 and 3. So let's put them all above this right here. So we have 2, which is, we have a route 2 here, right? Which has a /high. We have a route 2 here, which we get /high from route 2. And yeah. Then we have a route 3, which is /high as well. I'm trying to figure out what this means, what this means. I don't exactly get it. 2 does not. However, if they are in the wrong order, it will return 4, 4. Let's figure this out. So our app here is saying multiple default exports. Where are we exporting something? Ah, yeah. All right, so right now, let's see what happens when we go to slash high. 44 not found. Let's see what happens when we go to slash 2. 3 dot gets high. Okay, let me just comment these out first. So we have our app.routes, which is, hold on. Let's go to slash high again. Why is slash high not found? Because high is 3. So if we had this, right? Let me go back to our grouping so we can check our grouping very well. So we create a new route called book, right? Then book.get slash. Yes. So if we come to 2, I guess app.route slash 2 should go to 2. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm missing something. Because when we had this earlier, I'm coming. Let's just comment all this. Then we can see how this works again. So here, when we went to slash book, right, we had slash book, we had our list of books. So this gave us our route book, which was handled by book. And when you go to slash users, this handles slash user, right? So if we had something else, let's see. So this one has a 3. So if we said our user gets, say our user gets the book dot hold on, let me try to understand what's going on here. 3 dot gets high. Okay, 2 dot gets to the route. So this, we are registering this route, right? App dot route 2. Yes. So we have slash 2, which should give us that new Hono route 2, right? So I think I'm calling the handlers wrong, but I can't see it right now. I can't see what I'm doing wrong right now. So I think I'll figure it out later, but I can't see what I'm doing wrong at this side right now. But let's see if we can understand it from here. So if we have 3 dot get high gives us high. Route 2 goes to 3. I'm a bit confused here, right? However, if they are in wrong order, it will return a 404. Ah, so I guess this is what's happening, right? 2 does not have routes. Interesting. Okay. I guess we should have read further, then we would see what's going on. So I think this is probably the error we're having, right? Because they're in the wrong order. So 3 slash high should give us this. Huh. Interesting. Huh. Up the route 2, up the route 3. Okay. That's interesting. So we have 3, which would give you high when you go to slash 2, 3 high. But if you had them in the wrong order, then you just get a 4, 4. 2, 3 high. So you have 2, 3 high. All right, let's move on. Then context to handle request and response. You can use. I would have to look at that route, and I would have to look at the grouping more clearly to understand that better. But for now, let's go through the other parts of the docs. To handle requests and response, you can use context objects. Okay. So what do we have here? Your request is the instance of Hono request. Alright, so I guess this would show you what you have on the Hono request object. Yeah, so you can extract your user agent from your request headers. Alright, return HTTP responses. You can set headers with c.error, c.status, c.text, c.json. Okay. So your welcome route, you set your headers, set your status, and respond. That's fine. I guess all this is standard stuff, right? You can also write the following. Okay, so you can either do it line by line or come and do it like in this style. Or use the response objects. That's nice. Returning JSON, then returning HTML. They have it, wow. Returning JSON, returning HTML. We went through this already, not found. Then, okay, redirects. Then permanent redirects. Your set and your get. Var. You can also access the value of a variable with c.var. c.var.client, the one method. So you have your env defined here. Then Hono app. Okay, so you pass it to this create middleware function. Okay. Then you have access to it here. It's kind of the same thing we're doing with passing the bindings to the Hono object, right? I think, yeah, it's pretty similar. Yeah, like right here. Render and set render. You can set a layout using set render with custom middleware. Okay. Then you utilize render. Alright. All this stuff is to do with this context variable, this C we have coming through the application. So you can see all the methods on the side here, everything we can do on the C variable. So you can take your time, go through each one of them, see what you need. You have your events, you have your KV, we saw this earlier, you have your errors. Yeah. Now let's see the Hono request objects. Hono request is an object that can be taken from c.request, which wraps a request object. Okay, so they probably just they wrap the standard browser request objects, right? With their and created this Hono request object. So yeah, that's then we saw all this earlier. Then you can have you extract your params this way, then you extract your queries this way, then your headers. Yeah. Okay, so warning. C.request.header is called with no arguments. All keys in the return record are lowercase. If you want to get the value of a header with an uppercase name, use c.request.header. Okay. So this is a fair warning here. If you are trying to get something with an uppercase name, you have to use the syntax. You cannot get your header records from using this, if it contains uppercase letters. Right. I'm not sure why that is, but sure. Parsing bodies. Okay, this is form parsing. I think this is all standard stuff. It's just getting your data from your request, right? Multiple files with the same name. Interesting. If you set the dots option here to true, the return value is structured based on dot notation. Imagine receiving the following data. So data, form data, then we have these values. You can get structured data, you can get structured value by setting the dot option to true. Okay. So you can then do body dot the key. Okay. Blob. I mean, we've come across all these. I mean, okay, we've not come across them, but these are standard stuff. Passes the request as an array buffer, as a blob, form data. Available targets are below: form, JSON, query, header, cookies. Hono, it's I think I need to use I need to start writing everything in Hono for a while, then see what I'm missing. Because a lot of these things, you don't really use them until you have the use case to use them. Okay, so exceptions. When a fatal error occurs, such as authentication failure, an HTTP exception must be thrown, right? So authorize equals false, throw new HTTP exception, which is custom, your custom error message. Okay, so I guess, yeah, they give you a Hono exception, which you can throw. That's cool. Guess you could probably make your own. You can specify the response to be returned back to the user. So your error response equals new response unauthorized. So you can create a response and pass it through the Hono. So yeah. You create your own response, pass it to the Hono exception with the code. Handling exceptions. Yeah, I think we saw this earlier when we're looking at like the not found. You can, so when your app runs into an error, how do you recover from it? If you want to recover from it, I guess. The course option is available to add a course. Okay. hosts. So this sort of like a stack trace, right? Yeah. So it's passing the error to the cause. Okay, that's cool. So at least you can follow, you can see what crashed, what exactly happened, right? Then presets. Hono has several routers, each designed for a specific purpose. We saw this at the beginning. You can specify the router you want to use in the constructor of Hono. Presets are provided for common use cases, so you don't have to specify the router each time. Okay. The Hono class imported from all presets is the same. The only difference being the router. Therefore, you can use them interchangeably. Okay. So the smart router we saw earlier has these two. Yeah, that makes sense. So that will mean if you can switch them out, right? If you want to use different, yes, so for example here, so this is what they have by default, but if you want to use a different set of routers, then you can switch them. Okay, so I'm guessing these are the defaults for the various, so in Hono, this is the default. Then in Hono/quick, which I'm not sure where you use that, this is the default. Then Hono/tiny uses the pattern router. Okay, which preset should I use? So you should use Hono. Okay, this is highly recommended for most use cases, although the registration phase may be slower than Hono/quick. Yeah, because by default we are using the regexp router, right? So it exhibits high performance once booted. It's ideal for long life service built with Dino, Ban, or Node.js. For environments such as Cloudflare workers, Dino deploy, where V8 isolates are utilized, this preset is suitable as well because isolations persist for certain amounts of time after booting. Okay. I guess so. If your application is serverless, right, and you have to, every time a request comes in, you have to re-register the routes. It's going to be an issue if you have like lots of routes and you are using the regexp router, especially if you have a lot of nested routes, right? But then what you're saying here is, since like it persists for a while, it might not be a problem. So if you notice it is a problem, then you can switch out the router to something that is quicker to register, but at the loss of that runtime performance, right? So it's like, pick your poison. Yeah. So Hono Tiny, this is the smallest router package and is suitable for environments where resources are limited. Then Hono Quick. This preset is designed for environments where application is initialized for every request. So just what we're saying. If you are using a serverless environment and you know that your application is always going to be initialized, and your routes need to be registered again every single time, then this is what you're going to use. Hono Quick. So Fastly Compute operates in this manner, thus the preset is recommended for. Okay, interesting. I've never used Fastly Compute anyways. Let's see what's Hono Quick. So it uses the linear router and the track. So in this case, we saw the disadvantages of using the linear router, right? The runtime, if you have a lot of nested routes, then you are going to suffer because it has to go through each one of them before it finds your actual routes. But then if you are using sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there. Yes, on Fastly or other sites where you are using a serverless environment, you would want to use this because route registration is quick, so you don't spend time trying to initialize your app but rather processing your request, right? All right. I guess we're done with all. That was pretty quick. Now let's look at the guides. I guess middleware. Let me see what they have here. Ooh. Let's see. Okay, so these are just guides. Then these are helpers they have. I think we should look through this. Accepts. Let me see what middle. Ah, so these are the inbuilt middleware, right? Or maybe third party. But I'm sure these are probably what Hono themselves expect you to use by default. Then you can probably replace some of them depending on your unique need. Because we saw this basic auth earlier. Let's go through this quickly. Accepts helper. So the accepts function looks at the accepts header, such as accept encoding and accept language, and returns the proper value. All right. So accepts, accepts. Okay. Then headers, accept language, supports. So these are the languages you support. Then default is this. All right, that's cool. It's nice that there's a helper to do this. Let's look at adapters. The adapter helper provides a seamless way to interact with various platforms through a unified interface. Alright, so Hono imports Hono adapter. So, okay, what was this used for? Hono/adapter, we import env. Interesting. So the env function facilitates retrieving environment variables across different runtimes, extending beyond just Cloudflare workers bindings. So before we learned how to do environment variables when we are in Cloudflare, but then you might want to deploy elsewhere, right? So let's see, the value that can be retrieved with env may be different for each runtimes. So name is process.env.name on Node.js. Yeah, I think we're used to this. Name is the value written in Wrangler Toml on Cloudflare. Ah, so that's what they mean by it might be different. Interesting. So you have to be careful here when you are using environment variables. You have to know which environment you are deploying to and how to retrieve the variables for that environment, else you'll be getting the completely wrong thing. So supported runtimes, yeah, we saw this earlier. We saw all this earlier. So in Cloudflare, Wrangler and our JSON-C, but in Dino, we have dino.env or .env. Then in ban, we have ban.env or process.env. Then in Node, we just have process.env. Then Vercel. Okay, these all have their own way, which they link to their docs. Specify the runtime. And specify the runtime to get environment variables by passing the runtime key as a second argument. Interesting. Okay. So I guess this will be like typed, right? Get runtime key, record. You're on Cloudflare, get runtime key, ban. Nice, okay. Let's look at con info. The con info helper helps you get connection information. For example, you can get client's remote address easily. Your remote address is whatever is here. That's simple, huh? It's a nice to have, I guess. A lot of applications, you would want to store this kind of information about your incoming requests. So it's nice that it's just this. You just have to pass the context to it, and then you have your information. So, okay, we have a whole Hono slash cookie here, then normal set cookie, delete cookie, we have signed cookies. We have to make time to use all these things. CSS helpers, I guess if you are sending out HTML, oh, it's still experimental, interesting. Then dev helper. Hono slash dev, get router name, show route. Dev helper provides useful methods you can use in development. So this is the magic DX they are talking about, right? it makes your work easier, right? I mean, it's not so complex that you can't write simple code to determine whether you are in dev or prod to do certain things, but then you don't have to because they do it for you, right? Factory. The factory helper provides useful functions for creating Hono's components such as middleware. Oh, okay. So if you want to create your own, you are looking for factory. Interesting. Then we have HTML, JWTs, proxies. I guess so another use case for Hono could be, okay, so proxy helper helps provide useful functions when you are using Hono. Yeah, just what I was about to say. Another use for Hono, since it's so tiny, right? You could probably use it as a reverse proxy for your server somewhere. Nice. Streaming. What don't they have? Stream text, SSE. Huh, I see. So this could be used in like when you're working with LLMs and you want to stream your response down to your users. Yeah, something like this. You just nice. Testing. We looked at testing earlier, right? But I guess this is more in depth. So yeah, you initialize your client, your it, then you check res.get, you pass your query to it. Okay, so the other time we're not passing any queries, but now we see the syntax for passing queries, right? Okay. Then we come in do our sessions right here. Nice. Then we have a look at WebSockets, okay? Yeah, like we saw before, they really do just give you everything. But this I don't know if they have. Let me see. Okay, so they have for Cloudflare, Dino, and BAM. That's awesome. Now let's look at the middlewares they have built in. Basic auth, Bera, body limit, cache, combine, compress, context storage. This sounds interesting. Context storage. What's it? Context storage middleware stores the Hono context in the async local storage to make it globally accessible. Interesting. Note, the middleware uses async local storage. The runtime should support it. So you have to make sure your runtime supports this before you use it. Cloudflare workers, to enable async local storage, add this or this flag to your Wrangler terminal. Alright. So it's not enabled by default, I guess. So our imports. So you import your context storage and get context. So get context will return the current context objects if the context storage is applied as a middleware. Alright. So we use it as a middleware here, app.context storage. Then yeah, this is a middleware as well. So this runs, then you await your request. So then you can access the variable outside the handler. Huh. So interesting. So get message, then you return your context env.var.message. So inside your handler, you now actually get it. That's cool. On Cloudflare Workers, you can access the bindings outside the handler. So I guess since they say on Cloudflare Workers, probably only on Cloudflare Workers. Wow. Let's look at other stuff. Course, the pain for most, the pain. If you've not had issues with course before, then I mean, I don't know what to say to you. You're a better man than I. Let's see. Let's look at their logger. So they have an inbuilt logger called Hono logger, which logs incoming requests, outgoing requests, status code, coloring, time elapsed. That's nice. That's very simple. And language middleware. Detect language from a query string, cookies, and headers. In this default order, we fall back to English. Okay. They have so many, like there's so many things they help you with. I think like it's gonna be easy to get something running quickly with Hono, because it looks like almost anything you could need, they have it. I mean, anything easy you could need, right? Okay, tiny docs, dockless. I guess these aren't parts of the documentation, right? Yeah, it's just okay. Method override. What is method override? This middleware executes the handler of a specified method which is different from the actual method of the request, depending on the value of the form header or query, and returns a response. Okay, so we have our Ono. If no options are specified, the value of underscore method in the form. So override app. I'm not sure what this actually does. So in the form, you have value delete. Since HTML forms cannot send a delete method, you can put the value delete in the property named method. Oh, okay. Interesting. This is actually quite useful, I guess. I guess this is useful, yeah? That's nice, that's nice. So, I think today we've pretty much gone through the whole documentation. We went through the concepts, getting started in the API. The only thing we haven't gone through is the various guides they have. Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's go through the best practices, right? Because we always want to know what to do. Hono is very flexible. You can write your app as you like. There are best practices that are better to follow. Okay. However, there are best practices that are better. So you can write it however, but there are best practices that are better to follow. Okay. Don't make controllers when possible. When possible, you should not create Ruby on Rails. Straight off, some shade is being thrown. Okay, so yeah, you should. They want you to write the handler directly after the route, right? Not come and create, not come and create a handler like this. I mean, controller like this, and then assign it to the route, a callback function. So the issue is related to types. For example, the path parameter cannot be inferred in a controller without writing complex generics. I guess so. Yeah. But it's possible. They mention like without writing complex generics. I guess maybe if you're writing like a smaller application, medium-sized application, you probably don't need to do it, right? The only reason I would see you doing something like this is probably if the logic in here is quite a lot and it becomes very messy, unreadable, then maybe you want to refactor it out, then just pass the callback to it. So the way they want you to do it is just, therefore you don't need to, so you, yeah. So they want you to do it like this, right? You specify your routes, then you have your callback. All right. If you still want to create the Ruby on Rails like controller, use factory.create handlers. Okay, so they have a way for you to do it if you want to do it, but they say you shouldn't do it if you don't have to. All right, building a larger application. Use app.route to build larger applications without creating Ruby on Rails controller. If your application has authors and books endpoints and you wish to separate files from index, create authors.ts, books.ts. See, this is what we just did earlier. This is what we did in the previous part. So yes, so authors has its Hono initialization here, then you export it, then books has its own, you export it, then you come into the main application, then you specify the routes. Yeah, we did this earlier. Then it goes further into the RPC features. Okay. If you want to use RPC, the code above works well for normal use cases. However, if you want to use the RPC feature, you can get the correct type by chaining as follows. Okay. So app Hono, yeah, you get post. We saw the syntax earlier. Then you can come and get a type of app. Exactly. So your client is type of whatever is exported from here. Then you should have all the types. Yeah, that's quite standard, right? Okay. So I think we have pretty much understood what goes on in Hono, right? We created some sort of application, deployed it on Cloudflare. So we've used Cloudflare workers now. What other stuff do they have? Secret store. I guess that's for storing like variables and things. Workers for platforms. Have no idea what this is. Storage and databases. Let's see. So they have KV. Then a D1 SQL database, hyperdrive. I think I will definitely look into all these offerings. R2 object storage, so like we came across earlier, just like S3 probably. AI, of course, you have to have AI stuff today. Workers AI. Yeah, streaming, images, real time, tag management. Okay, so they have a lot of things, some even in beta. I guess there's a lot. Let me let me go into this. We didn't go into this. There's a lot I have to still look at. But so far, Hono looks like it's simple to set up, it's simple to run. Most things look simple, like you can just follow the docs, copy their code, and edit it, right? So it's just showing us our logs of what the API we deployed earlier. CPU time, wall time, execution duration, request duration. Let's see the logs. So they have to be enabled first. I guess you could see live logs. My workers, the dev. Interesting. All right, so that was an awesome walkthrough of Hono. I think we have to build something small to truly understand, truly understand what kind of application we can build with Hono, how quickly we can build them. It's ultra fast, multi-runtime, batteries included, and delightful DX. And so far, I really have no reason to disagree. So, yeah, we'll come up with an application to build with Hono for next time. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. This is the first ever time I have tried streaming, so I'm a bit jittery and going through things. If I'm going fast or I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning. I've never touched Hono before. This is my first time. So we went through together. First time streaming, first time trying Hono. A lot of first times happening here, right? So I hope as things progress, I'll get better at streaming and pacing, right? But thanks for watching. If you've gotten this far, please leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Thank you, and I'm out.